Any discussion? Representative Fontaine,
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I stand in strong opposition to this measure.
please proceed.
You know, we've discussed gambling before in this body, and I've made my comments about it then as well, about how this will forever change the landscape. It'll change our culture. Mr. Speaker, people come to Hawaii for our culture, for our aloha spirit. People can go anywhere in the world. They can go for white sand beach and ocean in the Caribbean or Mexico, but yet people come here because of what we are as a people. When we start introducing these kinds of measures, we start changing our culture and the very fabric of our family, our lifestyle, and everything else that's here. This measure, although it's trying to identify it as being, quote, entertainment, that it's peer-to-peer, it's still gambling. The House still takes a percentage of the winnings, as it's written right now in the piece of legislation. And I have talked to the representative from Lahaina about this issue, and I know he wants to work on it and to try to make it better, to make it more palatable. But as it stands right now, I cannot support this. We need to look forward at finding other ways to generate revenue and to creating new business and new opportunities for people here, but this is certainly not the way to do it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Representative Thielen, followed by Broward.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I'm rising to speak against the bill.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, first of all, I have a very serious problem with the procedure, the way that this occurred. We walked into the committee to hear a measure that was to stimulate Hawaii's economy by establishing an annual exemption from the general excise tax on retail sales of back-to-school items during a 5-day period in late July. So we were going to give families a tax holiday when they went to buy their back-to-school items. Wonderful idea. And in comes the gut and switch, and we're dealing with a gambling bill. And I felt, Mr. Speaker, that this gambled with the credibility of the committee. I still feel that this measure, gambling, this session has received intense comment on both sides. But at this hearing, strangely enough, there were only proponents. The opponents didn't know about it. I understand some rushed to the Capitol and did talk to the EDB chair after the hearing, but they weren't there at the hearing to be able to explain to the joint committee why we should not be passing this bill through. That's not the way we should do business in this body. And I really oppose it, not just on its merits, but for that procedure. The other reason is that we've addressed gambling. And yes, we're desperate to have more money in the state, to have more income. But we don't go and resuscitate a measure that has been voted down by this body because sensibly the body feels it doesn't make sense to establish gambling in Hawaii. Hawaii is Hawaii. And we don't want to gamble with the aloha spirit. We don't want to gamble and put this out as come here and you're just like Las Vegas or the other places. And you can't say that, oh, wait a minute, this is just a little one-on-one gambling. Once you open the door, Mr. Speaker, you know where that goes. I mean, once we started with the taxing measures we pass in this body, it's going to be a temporary one. How many sunsets have we ever implemented when it comes to raising taxes and fees? We don't. They just stay in perpetuity. Well, the gambling will stay, tarnish us, and then it will grow and will be no different than any of those other states where they have gambling and all of the social ills related to that. So I would hope this body would, in its wisdom, decide to once again table this measure. Thank you.